Alright, today is June 8th, 2025. We're doing Gabriel's 4th birthday today. I'm gonna hit early service at church, and then we're going to a park, and I have to decorate his cake and do all the things that I need to do for the birthday party, which isn't that much. Thankfully, I let the kids just decide what they want to do. Gabriel wanted to go have his at a park this time, so just gonna blow up some balloons and bring food and set it up and just decorate the cake and get him all cute and just get us dressed and ready to go. So pretty chill. I don't have to drive very far either, so yeah, this is me. I make these videos and I don't do myself up or anything. It's like I don't know. I'm authentic though. So, I'm not AI, right? Because I'm not all polished. This is real. I'm a real person. But I'm so glad that God has come back to me. I was praying and praying, and I didn't know what the distance was about. And now he's come back, and so I feel like the next thing I'm supposed to do is start a business. And so now I'm like, oh no. So God has come back after this, sort of distance where I wasn't sure if my prayers were being heard or if I was in trouble or something. And now I'm getting these confirmations to start a business. At the same time, we're buying a lake house, and so I was already going to open an LLC just to run that Airbnb business through an LLC just for liability protection, and also so that I can make my own money because I'm a stay-at-home mom. But having that LLC and that Airbnb is going to give me proof of income so that I can go do things and have my own life, enjoy my own pursuits. Especially because he's also been talking to me, this is crazy, about vaccines. So that's really interesting because, it's all in God's timing. I have felt convicted about doing vaccines, from my kids' whole lives, but now all of a sudden I'm feeling pulled and called to do a couple of vaccines, which is really weird because there's nothing prompting this. It's just God speaking to me, and it's just time to do it, I guess. And that has put me through extreme stress to not have them vaccinated. You have no idea the trouble that I've gone through to try to make sure that they don't get sick. I've even severed relationships with people over it because they bring their sick kids around and don't care about getting other people sick. And I'm like, that is not going to work for me. I don't want my kids getting sick. And so now, I'm not saying that was the good or all good, or I'm not saying it's bad either. It's just very surprising, very interesting, and I wonder why. I guess there's in my own mind, there's a lot of immigration going on, and so things that don't exist in the U.S. anymore, like polio, for example, could exist here again. Especially all the undocumented, illegal immigration, and probably a big lack of reporting as well, because if people come here and then they're not part of our systems for reporting and records and things like that, or maybe just culturally they might not go to the doctor for certain things or whatever. I don't know. But I just feel like if it exists in other countries and then those people come here, obviously we're going to be seeing those things come here. And so polio luckily is eradicated all over the world, but that's one of the ones that I feel called to get my kids that, even though there hasn't been a reported case of paralytic polio, and I don't know, you have to look it up because I don't want to misspeak, but basically last time I checked, there have been 5 cases that were all in one family who had just traveled somewhere. Those are the only cases in like a decade or two. So literally no cases in 2024 or 2025, and no cases for most of the years that I've been alive. But anyway, all that being said, maybe there's underreporting, and for whatever reason, maybe I'm going to be called to travel. I don't know. Or maybe it's just so that my kids can enroll in school, because maybe that's the plan. I don't know. But I'm going to do what I feel called to do after, prayer. The Bible says, my sheep know my voice. I hear it as God's voice, It's not from my own logic or contemplation. I just feel a little bit surprised by that. But I'm, totally willing to do it. And it's actually going to take a lot of stress off of me. And I've been asking, like, okay, which vaccines, when, do I need to space them out? How, who, which of my kids? I think they all are going to get a polio shot, and probably I'll get a DTaP shot as well. And who knows after that, if all goes well, maybe a Hib shot. And, I'm just going to go as God leads me. But, yeah. So, been also dealing with some other stuff. Like we have, it's really embarrassing to say, but if we have been having some issues with our house, with one of our neighbors has a chicken coop in their backyard, and we live in a very walkable area. Like we can walk to lots of restaurants and activities, things to do, parks, and so it's not really a place to have a chicken coop because that attracts rats. And so I feel like rats like trying to attack our house, I feel like it's sort of this symbol. It's symbolic of what might be going on in unforgiveness or bad thought patterns or bad mental, like each bad mental unforgiveness or belief or whatever it is, that's a rat. And so like if rats are attacking your house, it's like you need to eradicate that. You need to get rid of those thoughts, and getting rid of individual thoughts is one thing, but it doesn't get rid of the problem where the thoughts are getting in to the mind in the first place. You have to repair those places where the thoughts are getting into the mind. And yes, attack the individual thoughts as well, but just attacking the individual thoughts, sort of this never-ending thing, because they keep coming back and keep reproducing. As long as that damaged roof is open, as long as there's this open pathway to get in, they will keep coming. They will find their food outside of yourself, and they'll multiply outside of yourself. And if you let them get in to yourself, into your mind, they will then multiply in there and then destroy the rest of your house. They'll get in and start chewing holes through walls and all kinds of things. And we have a nice house. We've been very blessed. I feel like this house is from God. I've always said that. I've always known that from the beginning. And so I do feel like an attack on this house is sort of representative of myself. It's like a challenge from God to, like, hey, look at this problem in the physical world. You have to look at it, you have to deal with it, and understand how that relates to the spiritual aspect of things, the spiritual aspect of what's needing repair in your life, So I think for me, it's like these recurring thoughts of like these attachments to like things that people have done that I have forgiven in the past, just like we've gotten rid of this rodent problem in the past, and then, too much to be coincidence, when these thoughts come back to me of not forgiving these things and like dwelling on these things that people have done, it's like, okay, let's eradicate that again. Let's look for again where is the entry point here, seal that up, and if any few 2 or 3 thoughts remain, get rid of those, set a trap and dispose of those. They're done. And so I need to seal up the mind wherever that stuff is coming in, and don't allow that. If you allow that, it is worse than festering. It's like the thoughts are living and they're going to be multiplying and all this. So anyway, need to seal up that unforgiveness. I think in the past that has come from humility, and so one, having compassion for people, and understanding why they did what they did, and then saying, okay, sometimes what people did can't be justified, but there's probably something that I've done that can't be justified, even if I'm not aware of what the thing is. Somebody out there might hold on to some kind of grudge against me that I'm not even aware of over something I didn't even know about, or something that I did know about. And then there's also just sometimes I feel like when people do something really bad, really wrong to me, it's like an opportunity has been given to forgive, an opportunity to bear my cross, treat other people the way I want to be treated, a way to forgive, because when we're forgiving, we're laying up treasures in heaven. The Lord's Prayer, forgive us our trespasses as we've forgiven those who trespass against us. So when we are forgiving other people, it's an opportunity for us to be forgiven as well. And so there are all of these things that I have forgiven and that were supposed to be my treasures laid up in heaven for me to redeem later, to be redeemed by later. But then, I guess I've forgotten those, and I've let those fall back down on my